Welcome. Good evening.
Good evening. How
Welcome
are
to
you, Thomas?
Jeff from Tarotaskbackwords. Thomas is fine. How is Jeff doing?
Jeff is good. He's in a good headspace today because his patience was not tried too much at work. So,
Oh, well, um, that seems to be my patience seems to be my theme word because there's a lot of tests that have been
oh,
coming
yes.
to me, and I have been failing them miserably. Hi,
Mhm.
Georgie. Welcome, welcome. So, you've also found your patients being tested, I suppose, since there's a deadline of the 15th to get everybody enrolled in the new Medicare health plan year.
It was the 7th, but another enrollment period known as open enrollment starts January 1st through March 31st. So this should be calmer now until Christmas, but they all kind of just run together. So it's constant, but now the questions, I couldn't do this, I didn't do this, can I do this? When can I do this? Why can't I do this now if you're saying I can do it in 2 weeks? Blah 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 blah. Yeah.
I'm glad I don't have to be subjected to the political aspect of working society. So, thank goodness for retirement. Sucks
Oh,
to
I
be
can't
retired,
wait to be in your
not
shoes.
retired, but you know, what did I have to do today? Absolutely nothing. But what did I get to do today? Anything I wanted.
Absolutely nothing. Oh, anything you wanted, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I want
Did
those
I
days.
do anything I wanted? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
But I
but when
didn't.
you're a creative person like I am, so there's always something I'm sure boiling with you as far as like graphics and YouTube and stuff that you're tinkering with. So I long for those days of nothing again. And then, but the only thing is I can't afford them yet. So I want the day to be where, but then I could be working till I'm dead, which would be fine too. So
Miss Minlight says, "Look at the both of you talking about yourselves in the third person." LOL. Miss Moonlight, I frequently talk about myself in the third person. No matter where I go, there I am, me, myself, and I. We're all three facets of the one. But when you're in that third person in your book voice, you're third person omniscient. You can do anything you want with those characters.
yes.
You know what they're thinking.
Hmm.
You can articulate that.
Hmm.
Um, in my waking life, if I knew what Jeff was thinking, uh, I'd probably be splitting a gut right now.
Yeah, I'm not too. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I'm unhealthy, but I don't think I'm like the paragon of health based on what I'm writing. So, you know, I had my stepfather, or he's tried. He's never tried to be my stepfather. I never liked him, but he told me my writing was shit. We had a fight once.
Well, everybody's a critic. Um, uh, and you can consider the source in that case because you know how he's operated all along.
Hmm.
Tonight, Jeff and I are going to try Celtic crossreads. This is the reading that I did for the charity for 12 years running. 28 readings a day, 15 minutes a piece is what they gave me in a very frenetic environment. Not quiet. The bagpipes and the drum corps would come through every couple hours to I'd have to shout over them just so I could get through that 15-minute read. And um, it was a great experience at getting my reading chops in because, you know, the first year I took my standard Rider-Waite Smith, the U.S. Games Yellow Pack, put a couple keywords on it for upright and reverse. And by the end of the day, reading 280 cards, card readings. I didn't need the cheater words anymore because the cards had all come up, a couple times that day. So I was already getting more tuned into what I wanted to read the cards as or how to interpret them with the pictures and with what I knew of my book learning. So it is going to take a while for us to read on your questions. So if you have a question, just type capital question and the verbiage of your question, and we'll go ahead and start it. And I've given Jeff the option of picking which of the questions that he would like to read on. So it probably at most we'll get 4 done. Jeff will start, and then I'll go, and then Jeff will go, and then we'll take a look at the time. And I know Jeff has some other commitments. He's just not my personal play pet when he's on my shows.
Tonight I am. Tomorrow I'm not.
But I know you like to be off by 9
yeah,
p.m.
there are things I want to watch on here, yeah.
Yeah, 9 p.m. your time because you like to watch Tropical Empress.
And don't let it go then. Does it like the Valentina Tarot? I need more decks, you guys. That was another thing. I want to find a deck like the Valentina Tarot or along the same lines as this deck.
Nudity?
Yeah. So I'm trying to find, I don't know if Lo Scarabeo has any others like this, but.
Yeah, I would think that. Well, my channel is sort of limited to an over 18 crowd. It is not made for children, and I make that well known. So, if you're under 18, get your parents' permission to watch us. And we have to do this disclaimer, like for entertainment purposes only. There is no university degrees in tarot or astrology. There are accreditation programs, but there is no one-size-fits-all accreditation for organization, for parent organization to issue certificates of proficiency
In the tarot.
for tarot or oracle or Lenormand.
I'm fucking around with lighting and what do I want to do? No, not that one. That
You're
one
gonna
maybe.
freak. The F word has been freed. It has been unlocked.
Oh, good. Apocalyptica.
So I haven't seen a question yet. All 2 of our guests are here, and so any burning thing that you want to know, that Jeff and I will do third-party reads, especially if you want us to read about a person in the news or a person in politics. They've given up a bit of their freedoms by being a public personage. And so it is not the same um, invasion of their privacy, because we're invading their privacy as a public figure, not as the private person. If that makes any sense. Does that make
And
any sense?
some would say they chose that life by becoming a public person. But I mean, we don't need to go into that one.
Well, Miss Moonlight may be an accredited institution diploma or degree in tarot. Yeah, I've got a lot of participation certificates saying that I've gone through a refresher course with Tarot's apprentice, Johnny. Um, but, you know, the books that I read were as meaty of books as I possibly could get to solidify um, how I was going to go with my readings. And how I go is different than how other people go and read the cards. Hence, tarot your way. You do what feels right for you. And there is no one way fits all solution in this, as we're all individuals. Oh, I'm definitely not taking away any certificates or training, because once you are in a profession, to keep up your professional credentials, you have to do so many hours of continuation education to keep up your credentials. So, you know, even even my foot doctor, even my foot surgeon, you know, they have extra training that they have to go through each year, because, as you know, there are additional treatments for the general maladies. Now, there may be specific surgical treatments that are being shown, that will cause less stress on a body or less trauma. And of course, those need to be taken along into consideration, because if a person is in pain um, before the surgery, and it affects, I know, Ms. Moonlight, it affects how the anesthesia works and the dosages. So always be frank with your health care providers. Tell them what supplements you're taking, go over your prescription medications. Tell them if you smoke, tell them if you drink, tell them if you experiment with this drug or that drug, because all of those things can um, affect your health outcomes and their decisions for anesthesia or methodologies that they use during the surgery. Hi, Fatima. And Hershey's joined us. She's really having problems with StreamYard, so we have moved the Wi-Fi router out to her, and we've run a network cord directly to her computer, and it still can't keep a connection, even hardwired. So I don't know if it's
Hershey, come back to us. I've been
if
wondering
it's
where
her computer system, or if it's sucky Verizon in this area, or we are on a major thoroughfare and we have tow trucks going 24 hours a day, um, raping people by taking their vehicles from visitor parking because they don't have a hang tag saying that they're a visitor. You know, in the 5 minutes that it takes them to get to the person's house and ask for the tag and get back to their car is pulling out on the back of a tow truck.
Oh my God.
At $280 a pop. And there's this one tow truck that I swear he works 14 hours a day, and 35-mile-an-hour stretch in front of our place, but he's hauling ass at 70 every time he goes by. Thomas gives blessings because every time Fatima comes in, she reminds me that blessings do need to be paid forward. And she blesses us with her appearance or her comments after if she couldn't watch the live. So we appreciate each and every one of you. And if you want a question answered, go ahead and type in question and then the verbiage of your question. And I've given Jeff the first pick, but I haven't seen questions. So last week, I don't know if it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but the CEO of the Medicaid wing of United Healthcare, Medicare Advantage, was assassinated in New York City. And they've had a manhunt, and they have an alleged suspect under arrest. And apparently one of the bullets at the scene had the word deny etched into the side of it. So they picked him up on second-degree manslaughter, but I would say if a bullet has something written on it and he's got a manifesto, I would say that maybe it should be a first degree, but maybe they don't think they can get a first degree murder on this alleged suspect.
We're going into a time too where I think you're going to see a lot more of this sort of thing, because with Pluto and Aquarius, it's about not righting the wrongs per se, although that's kind of what he feels he's doing as far as insurance goes, because I think he had some have speculated or known that he had a family member that was very sick that was being denied something within insurance. So Pluto and Aquarius is about the community, calling out these big organizations and creating a new safer space, for, even though it's murder, it's not really a safer space, but creating a safer space for people who are being, screwed with by these companies and such. And what might start to happen too is the right and the left that's divided are going to start saying, who's the one, doing this to us? Well, it's not the gays, it's not, the women, it's not this, it's well, what do we all have in common here? What do and then they'll start taking a second look at it and say, it's our government. That could be coming too, between the Pluto and Aquarius, and then that Aries energy, that we're coming into about war. So I think that we're entering into a new phase of energy and a new time, to kind of right wrongs in a way, and it may be civil war, it may be any type of thing, but it should be interesting to see how this unfolds, all of it. This could get the Senate going too, to start investigating healthcare and what's going on, as
Well,
far as
the
companies.
Senate needs to investigate the Senate first, and nothing's going to come of that because they all profit. They're
This is
I
true.
think they're all on the pale for something. They all got political action committee money coming from somewhere, and they all have their own pet projects. So I would say that they each have 2 or 3 income streams at least from major companies or political action committees. Jeff, something that came to me last night. Do you believe in miracles?
Yes, I do.
So you inherently believe that a miracle can happen for you?
I believe in miracles, and I have had them happen to me. But there again, this is an interesting question, because what are you defining as a miracle? I mean, it's, again, are you partly
Even
manifesting
something as
it?
small as a synchronicity, I could consider a miracle. Not all synchronicities are miracles, but some of them could be considered miracles.
Well, that would be like last week then, when I was meditating to Terry's show and my alarm went off at the exact time she was done. And I didn't plan it that way, because I planned it to go off whether or not she was done or not, but she happened to end at a certain point when it was, you know what I mean? And then I'm like watching a certain, like, I believe in communication through numbers. I also believe that sometimes when you least expect something to work out, or you have a negative perception that it won't, that can turn around if you've done everything that you can do to manifest it. But even sometimes without manifesting it, the gifts that we get in those synchronicities or in those surprises can be miracles. I believe them. I believe in miracles. I mean, I don't predicate my whole life on them, but I believe in them. Yeah.
And then if you had an adversary, and I'm not saying that you do, but how dangerous would it be to have an adversary that gaslights you on your belief system and ultimately does it so much where it takes away your hope? How dangerous of an adversary would that be?
Probably the one that would be the well, I mean, are they going to kill me? Like, are they threatening my life or anything? I mean, that would probably be worse than death, because some people would argue without hope we have nothing. But there again, if you're being gaslit and you're being made to question everything, I guess some people say questioning yourself is a good thing. But if you're being gaslit to the point where you don't want to live because your beliefs are being called into question so much by yourself that you're even starting to doubt them, then it's a problem. Because if something they're saying is resonating through their gaslighting of you, it's time where some start to reassess themselves. So I would say that could be one of the more dangerous ones, especially if you have a mental condition, or like what Miss Moonlight's saying, that's bullying. If you're suicidal,
Yeah.
that might be the worst form, Thomas.
Oh, that's awful, Mama Sushi. If that happens to you, awful lot. Um, and anybody who tries to gaslight you or fault on everything and not try to make you feel less than enough, um, that's a person that needs to be looked at on a daily basis to see if you're willing to keep them in your life, and if you deem that they don't belong there, um, give you the resolve to get them out and keep them out.
And that's the interesting thing about that. I mean, who's the one projecting in that sort of relationship or that situation? Because if they're mirroring to you something that you're picking up on about them, or something that they're picking up on about you that you already instinctively are questioning, then maybe there is something resonating about it and they're gaslighting you. Maybe it's sometimes a plan to get you to question your beliefs and change how you think. But if you're teetering on the edge, you definitely don't need to be gaslit. And it makes me wonder more about the psychology of the person who's making you question or gaslighting you than it does about the other person and their beliefs, although both are very important. Sometimes people will gaslight people who maybe these people have wrong beliefs. I mean, or beliefs that go against what other people believe. And that's on some level, I guess, almost like a Socratic or, Socrates way of like, well, why then, why then, why then, why then, why then? But then it's like, if you're doing it violently and you're making them feel uncomfortable, I don't know about where the line between questioning someone and arguing and debating about their way of living or whatever becomes gaslighting. You've got to be really careful of that because we're all triggered in different ways. So, I mean, like one night, everyone has their own way. There was someone that was on my channel, and it was like, you need to stop talking about nukes. Well, none of us has been nuked, but it was triggering them, so I felt really bad about it. Or, if it's about vampires, some people feel triggered about that. So
Has that person come back to you?
I actually went back to them, and I went to their
I,
chat.
I, I hope I hope that anything I said wasn't off-putting. But I guess the three things that I wanted to know about the situation is how old this person was, what their living situation was, were they still living with their parents, and then this person did articulate that his parents knew of his desire to get this
to be a vamp.
Procedure done, maybe a dental procedure on his teeth.
Oh, there was that too? I didn't see that. All I knew is he wanted to grow fangs.
But I guess he had articulated to his family wanting to do this, but he didn't allude to whether they approved or disapproved.
Oh, so that was for us.
So, like I would say, if you're still living under your parents' roof, then there's going to be some additional pressure. If you're 21, you can do what you want to do, but be ready to face the consequence if you do something that your parents don't like, that they may ask you to hit the road if you're living with them.
Are there a lot of vamps out there?
I haven't met anybody who had the vampire surgery, but I have met somebody who's got the implants to be like a horned toad or a horned snake.
Whoa.
So they've got these medical dots all over their face in a particular pattern that this horny toad or horned snake has on them.
Oh
And
my
yes,
God, I love
it's hard
that.
to keep gaze into the person's eyes when there's so much other interesting going on that your brain wants to resolve it. So you can't keep eyes locked on eyes, that you have to, you, you're totally taking in the entirety of the face. And um, the forward phrenology of it, can I touch the bumps and read your fate? Um, outwardly, outwardly, I would hope that this is an entrepreneur and has his own company set up, because it would be um, very hard to have a frontline customer service visible uh, person. They may say, they may bump him to a supervisor position, and like, can I speak to your supervisor? Um, Horn Toad speaking today. And what do you want? So this person will come back and
I
visit you.
think so. I
Okay.
mean, I don't know if they even remember. Some people were opining that maybe he was baked when he came in. That he
Well,
would.
baked or not, I mean, a person's wants and a person's feelings are their own, and it is not for me to question their feelings. I just want to question them. Why help me make sense of this? I know
Mhm.
why you want to do it, but do you really think that it's going to um, make people comfortable in your presence if you have this outwardly manifestation of something that um, is perceived as negative lore?
Yeah, and then the other part of that is too, like, I really, really wish, like he would do a show on the whole thing and come on my channel and talk about, vampiricism and vampiric vampiric way of life and all that stuff, to educate us and hopefully bring to light, no pun intended, the things that maybe we've missed through the years with this,
And
and maybe, yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's an extension of the goth period. I sort of was too early for that. But I definitely remember the cravats and the black and white
Oh
severity.
yeah.
I just wasn't running with that crowd at that time. And Miss Moonlight wants to know, what was your most used tarot deck this year, Jeff? Valentina.
Valentina, by far. Yeah.
Uh, and I think over the course of the year, the one that got the most play with me was Morgan Greer Tarot. Just because the pictures are similar enough to RWS, but have a little more vibrancy, a little more maybe flatness, comic book effect to them.
Does Hershey like the Morgan Greer too? I thought she did.
Um, let's see. Well, I know that she got a Zammer twins here lately, but the StreamYard is being um, very persnickety. We had some buffering. I don't know if you had any of that going on with you, but I was off for about 2 minutes here, just watching
Oh,
the screen.
that I didn't know. I thought you were always in here for this. That's interesting. And clones to Rider-Waite-Smith.
But as far as now we're back on screen. But
This Christmas,
as I was explaining that, I went off again for about a minute. Marseille, I got a chance to read Marseille at a house party. Somebody asked me to read tarot cards, and the host had his Marseille deck there. And I was, even though it was the pips, the curved swords and such, definitely could read it, with the RWS interpretations in mind.
Yeah, Rider-Waite-Smith is a good guide to start with, but it can get really dry really fast. So, unless
and that's why I start with Rider-Waite-Smith, because that's probably the people who've never been into the woo-woo or the esoteric studies. That is their first. That would have been their first inkling of a tarot being out there, because it was accessible everywhere. And then I don't know when this trend of putting out your own tarot decks started occurring. Was that in the 60s, the 70s? I'm only into this knowing about GoFundMe's and crowdfunding, crowdsourcing, make playing cards. I've only learned about those, since being on my channel. I just didn't know that there was that. I knew that there was a Halloween tarot by Kipling West about 20 years ago, but I didn't know that they had turned it into a tarot in a tin version available through US Games. But it's one of the more affordable themed Halloween decks.
Typically, I noticed that the readings around Halloween are a lot better. I mean, they're a lot. I think you get a lot of things more rapidly from those.
The veil is thinnest at that time, and if you have any kind of connections, or I think whatever clairs are your strong suit, they do amplify around that time.
Mama Sushi, do you want a reading, Mama? Or are you all reading out?
So the readings that we're doing tonight are the Celtic Cross readings, and they have 10 different cards, and each position has a meaning or a theme to it. And whatever card is drawn upright or reversed in that theme, that is how the card is interpreted. So mine usually start with the querent or their modus operandi. Why is this person asking this question? Then I have a cross card. Whether it's, I always read it upright when it's a cross, because it's a challenge, and you want to see and recognize the challenge. It's a challenge you've had problems with, and it's a challenge that you may still have problems with over and over and over. You just have to come up with a different way of dealing with it. Do you want to deal with it? Do you want to call it out? Do you want to subvert it? Do you want to climb over it? Do you just want to ignore it as part of a personality flaw in that person or the character or the gist what that challenge comes to you? Morgan Greer's the 80s mustache deck. Maybe that's why I like it. I like that. And you'll notice I got rid of the beard. I did the no shave November. I think around Halloween, before a cruise, I did my last haircut, and just um, the morning of the cruise, just reshaved to the low spots. But by the end of the cruise, I had 10 days of stubble, and it's very noticeable on me. My brother could go 10 weeks, and you still probably wouldn't notice his stubble because he doesn't have a thick beard at all. So no questions on the Celtic cross. Do you want to read, Jeff, on that United Healthcare CEO that was murdered?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want? Let's see if during your reading, if they have the right alleged suspect in custody.
Okay. So, what's his name? Are we reading about the one killed or the one that the assailant?
We're reading on the alleged
assailant.
perpetrator, and his name Maggione, something Maggione.
Luigi Maggione or something.
Yes, I have an aunt Luigina, so that's the female counterpart to Luigi.
So is this I'm going to do the energy of Luigi Maggione, whatever his last name is. Let me just see. We should probably do a prayer first. Poetry prayer.
Pray for the victim and pray for those affected and the family members.
Yeah, Luigi Mangione. Okay, hold on. Yeah, okay.
Miss Moonlight, I don't know that this is true crime or fictional crime yet.
Robin Hood stole from the rich to give to the poor. Somebody left their life because they couldn't get health coverage for a condition that they bore. Some people think they're righting a wrong by taking another life. Just because one was taken doesn't make it any more doesn't make any less of the strife. The energy of Luigi Mangione we call in tonight. Tell us, God of my angels, what to make of this fright, and tell us the energy surrounding Luigi Mangione at this particular time, this moment, and show us all the things we can't define. Okay. Okay, so Come
in. Come in. Oh.
Oh, interesting. I'm getting spoiled off of him for some reason. I'm also getting that he was radicalized. But I don't near future. Okay, The external influences. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9. He also has some serious issue mentally, but that's not hard. Yeah. Okay. Oh, star.
So, to tie this in with pop culture, was he born wicked, or did his circumstances make him wicked?
I'm thinking more that he was. I think circumstances made him wicked. I don't know if he saw someone sick about whom he cared, but I also get the sense that he didn't really. He was the type of person that was not in touch with emotions. He was the type of person that also, when he was hurt, he acted out and didn't necessarily know how to convey what he was feeling in the proper way. Because I got the 6 of Cups first, which is the energy he's sitting in. He's either mournful with the moon in Scorpio, he's mournful about the
way it
loss
used
of
to be.
somebody. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, the nostalgia of the way it used to be, the standard, and now
It's
it's empty.
he lives in the past, and he also like has this idea of how things should ideally work, but they don't work that way anymore. And I don't know if he was taught to believe something that challenged him in a way where he couldn't deal with it, because what came out after it was the 4 of coins reversed. So I'm seeing a lot of money being spent on him, and a lot of money maybe to get psychological help for him, or the idea that things could be fixed with money or through therapy, when there was clearly something that you can't overcome from just an imprint in your mind. In other words, if it's something intrinsically that you have to deal with day in, day out, no amount of therapy is going to work. Or he, by throwing money at the problem, I'm getting it made it worse. And that's what they continued to do. I get the energy he's sitting in now is 7 of Cups. Delusion. I feel like I feel like it's almost this type of thing where he feels like what he did for the right reasons, and he can cite all the statistics. He has a firm grasp on what, the actuarial sciences are showing about death rates and the increased number of deaths that this country is experiencing versus others. That's like why when he came out today and started screaming about the whole American country isn't stupid, it knows what's going on. He really does believe that this man's death was justified, that this man was truly, truly evil. And he also believes that one death that could save a million other lives, which is what he thinks he's doing, is, and this is what I was trying to say to you, is an ideal that can be met by the choice he made. I also get to, in the past, 10 of Swords, I think someone either died, as I said, and it hurt him to the core. But what you asked me at the beginning, if he was born that way or if he grew to be that way, I think he grew to be that way. But I also think, with the education card coming in reversed, somewhere in college or somewhere along the line, there's some left wing. I don't think it's Antifa or anything like that, but I think the Page of Pentacles, he got the message that money was the root of all this evil, but also it conflicted with the money that they threw at him to try to get him well, because there were some psychological issues there that were unattended. And he didn't bother to attend to them enough when he was away at school. And I think he got more messed up. That's why I'm getting education reversed, because I use that as a clarifier for. That's funny that you asked me, because I had used a clarifier before you would ask me if he started evil. And then I got achievements, which is the 7 of Pentacles. He's got a lot of Pentacles in here, or actually 3 of Pentacles. Sorry.
And this is your second 7 or third?
It will be the 3rd, but there is a 4th, a 5th, a 6th. There's something here about like tons of it. This is like building stuff or working together. I'm thinking maybe there are 2 other people involved in this. I also think with this being what is it? I think it's Saturn in Taurus. There was some shift in perspective that led him to believe that money was not going to fix him. Nothing was ever going to fix what had happened. His family, if you read about it, gave a lot to the insurance industry. He is from a wealthy family. He's from a very wealthy family. You can read the articles. So these cards make sense in a way. But I think in his particular instance, the only thing that was shown to him was that, and I'm almost reading this like dark money. There's too much dark money being thrown. There's too much of what you were saying earlier, the lobbyists. That's why you can't fool the whole country. You're insulting its intelligence, blah, blah, blah. This is also why he did it around the election, I feel like, or after the election. I feel like the election might have had a role in this. Too much money in politics, too much money from lobbyists. And then I got for the energy he's attracting, again, 2 of Pentacles, profit and loss. I feel like with this card, I feel like, hi Tarot Stash, I feel like since he's he's going to have people that are going to come out in support of him, believe it or not. He's going to be seen as a folk hero by some people. He's going to be seen as a malignant, cancer or whatever by others. But this is also about him trying to reconcile the ideas in his own mind that he can't come to terms with about one life will not make right another life. It doesn't balance out. The external forces on him, or what external things are in the environment or whatever. Ace of Pentacles again. I feel like he's going to have either a GoFundMe, which is going to sound really strange, but it's going to be about something against the insurance companies. I feel like some movement's going to be afoot to try to get money to try to reform some of these companies. So some of the stuff he's done is going to have an effect that's positive indirectly. Not that people should die. And what's funny is in the hopes and fears, he got the hope card. So that either reaffirms what the last card said about the possibility of hope as a result of this to reform insurance laws, or it means, in his case, a lack of hope. But there's been a lack of hope all along for him. And then I got, which is weird at the end, I got balance. He got the King of Pentacles too. In the near future, someone's going to come in, either a lawyer or somebody, to try to help him, who's going to have a really strong notoriety. But then I got balance at the end, and I don't know why he got this card, Temperance. This is what, Sagittarius. He's going to have like a revelation at some point, I think, that he's going to either become more spiritual, which sounds really fucked, but he might. Or what I'm hearing is the possibility of maybe he's going to have to be calmed down, drugged up more, because you're going to see more outbursts like the one you saw today. That's what I got for him.
And Joyful Journey has joined us. Thank you, Joyful Journey. And I just started laying out my Celtic cross, and I just have the Y. In the Y position, I have the Seven of Cups: confusion, illusion, dissatisfaction. Maybe he felt no choice. What's crossing it is the Page of Swords. So I think maybe this person in their life has been told to make up their mind and be decisive about it, and really hasn't ever been in the past, but jumping to an action in this alleged murder of the United Healthcare CEO last week. I think he was pushed into it. And when Hershey came in and gave me the True Crime deck, the two cards that I pulled out, money may be involved. Of course, money is involved in a healthcare scan. And the second card is drugs may be an important factor in the case. Now, whether it turns out that he was denied psychotropic antipsychotics for him, or if care was denied somebody else that drove him to be unstable and maybe requiring drugs to be used, and he was turned down. Hello, Jane. Maybe time will tell, but in the early stages, they put out a lot of resource for this murder very quickly, just because it was a person of renown, had money, had influence. You would have never seen this in a murder in a neighborhood in Alabama or something like that. The money and the resources are not there in a rural Alabama situation. But in rural Alabama, maybe things can't be totally hushed up, and maybe somebody had speculation, or somebody let their lips loose when they knew about it, or the person would have said something before killing in that situation. Whereas in New York City, you've got to use all the surveillance and the cameras that are available to you, because nobody knows their closest millionth neighbors in a multi-million person town, city, megapolitan. So, Jeff, anything you'd like me to pull cards on?
Well, I know Joyful Journey had a question, or someone did. But
Hi, Jane.
So Joyful, could you put it in if you do? But I wanted you to read on Elon Musk at some point, but we don't have to do it now. Okay. Do we both want to do this one, Tom?
Joyful Journey, congratulations for getting out of a toxic situation. Unfortunately, if you're like me, you don't have the economic resources to endure a long unemployment. So hopefully there is something waiting quickly in the wings for you. So I'm going to ask, what's coming up for Joyful Journey? Joyful Journey here is set up as the Two of Pentacles, the balance. She just upset her own balance today by leaving her toxic job. But I would say that's a good thing. Your challenge is the Two of Cups. Finding that that job that lets you feel nurtured and supported. And if you're not supported by your boss at work, it is a toxic relationship. Maybe a passive toxic, but toxic nonetheless. What's at the root of the problem is the Empress. So I don't know if you're not feeling your maybe you grew up in a creative and loving, nurturing environment, and that job was not a fit with that safe space. What is your highest possible outcome out of this? Very interesting card. We have the Nine of Swords reversed. So you just want to get rid of the nightmares. You don't want to overthink things, and with the amount of discomfort and upset that this position was causing you, it was causing you to have lost nights of sleep. So the highest outcome is to maybe have a conscious clearing moment, and maybe they were doing something wrong and you could no longer be part of it, so you excused yourself from the situation. What's in the past? Page of Pentacles. So learning about money, learning about investments, learning about how to take care of yourself and your surroundings. I think that's in your past. You know how much or how little it takes you to survive on a day-to-day basis. What's coming up for you? Page of Wands. Time to take action, be creative, maybe not go with the standard job situation, whether you be hanging out your own shingle or starting up some creative entrepreneurship for yourself. How do other people see you in the situations? They see you as being taken care of, Joyful Journey. They see you as the Nine of Pentacles. They think you have enough. They don't think that you need or want any more, because to them you look, um,
Nine of Pentacles.
um, you look like you're, in a comfortable living situation and not hurting for money. What do you see in yourself? You see yourself as 3 cups. So you see yourself in a pretty good situation. You're happy, you're
Yeah.
healthy, you're celebrating. Um, you know, could be your bad boss, ding dong, the witch is dead moment, and you're reeling in that right now. Your hopes and fears. The Knight of Wands. I think that you're afraid that it's going to take a lot more effort on your part to get going again, to pull up and pull out, and to get a job that seems to be a successful match for you, Joyful Journey. So sometimes we want to be more creative. Sometimes we know how much effort it takes to be creative in our outlet. Um, there are low fruit creativities, and then there are high fruit. Um, and you got to get creative on how to get that fruit harvested for yourself. And then your outcome, 10 of Wands. So a completion again, um, that that creative, that fiery, that passionate energy that you have inside of you, you will get your passion and joy back. So that is your outcome, Joyful Journey. And I hope that answers your question. So we had a couple 10s in the reading. Two 9s, two 10s,
I had
one
three
page.
I'm gonna hazard a couple guesses here about certain things that are going on without reading maybe each card. I saw that you were once in a position not of maybe power, but respect within this job, and that was taken from you by some really twisted male, potentially. I'm also getting here that the energy you're sitting in right now is this. You're ecstatic about it. You're really, really happy. You'll be getting back in touch with your higher self. I'm almost getting a lot of earth and water energy within this more than anything. Um, the challenge card that you did get was the Nine of Swords reversed, which means to me the only thing about which you're going to be sleepless, I think, about is not money, because I actually got really good money cards for you. Whether or not you find a job or not, for some reason, I don't know what this means, but I got that your peace of mind as the days go on might become a little bit more circumspect about what you take next for a job. And the wheels are already turning. But what you do have control over, this is someone who knows how to manage money, Nine of Pentacles, very, very well. This is the energy you're sitting in right now. Okay. So the challenge, I feel like there was I heard like this place had illicit sex going on, not in it, but people were hooking up. There was a lot of office politics because of relationships and stuff like that. And I heard a really bad boss. I also heard, and I don't know if there's, as I said, a lot of Cancer energy around you and a lot of I feel like there's a lot of either Scorpio energy too, because with nines, I kind of feel like hidden influences, motives, shared money, competition for positioning meant having to be in a lot of politics in that place that was kind of secret, or under the rug. Things were being done behind your back you didn't know about. I got strength reversed. This was the overriding energy of the whole thing, the subconscious that you don't realize. In other words, I feel like when you were there, you were having to what do you call it? Sublimate the feelings of being weak just to put on a happy face every day and go to work. Then you got the 9 of Cups. This is what you're attracting, which is the wealthy merchant. This is, to me, when you get this external influences and how the external influences are influencing you. 5 of Swords reversed. I feel like you are being told, or were told in this position, you had to settle, or they were sending you messages among all the other people you work with that you need to take one for the team quite a bit. And I think you got fed up with that more than anything about the money. I think you got fed up with that. The other thing I got was 4 of Coins reversed, which to me meant not you're tied down. You have to get over this, because this came in the hope position. You have to get over feeling like you have to settle for something. In other words, you need to hold on. I feel like this job was compromising your integrity in some way. In other words,
it almost felt like they were doing something on the edge of legality.
Yeah.
And Joyful needed to divorce herself from that as quickly as possible, because she may have been pulled in into playing that role, or they wanted her to play that role.
That's why I think I got the Moon for secrets. I think that's what Thomas is saying. That was my next card. And then my outcome card. Yeah.
Good for you for getting out of a toxic situation. Maybe a fraught with litigation. Good for you for seeming to have financial resources to stick it out for a while if you have to. Head to smile and keep your opinions to yourself. Oh yeah, well, we have an open door policy here. You can come in and talk to Jeff and me at any time. And unlike your bosses, there's receipts to theirs. Us, we just want to help you. We don't have skin in the game. We are third party. And if you had to be a yes man and you're not really a yes man, I could see where it'd be hard to be in that situation.
Yeah, I saw when I visualized the energy. I don't know why I saw this, but I saw a fountain, like a wishing well or something, and I saw a cloud that wouldn't burst. And it was like, it was almost like you had to have it burst. Yeah, and it wouldn't.
Thank you for the pat on the back, Joyful. Thanks for asking the question and let us pull the energy around it. And anybody who asks the question, you are totally brave. And if you want us to shut it down at any point,
Thomas. Thomas is frozen. Thomas is frozen. Anyone? You want anything? You want a reading? Do you? Do you?
So we've only read on two things basically tonight, and we're already past an hour. So Jeff, what do you have in the upcoming week for yourself?
Tomorrow night is the ethics panel. Myself, Gerald, if he's still here, Ramon, Roots and Waves, Ange is hosting it. It's on my channel. It's on Ramon's channel, Bobby Fierro's channel. That's his last name. Miss Tarot D's channel is being simulcast. We're going to be talking about the role of ethics as tarot readers. And we're going to also be talking about, with the new political situation that we're going to be looking at, what some of the prospects might be kind of coming along with that. And in light of the developments on my channel the other night about what we saw, I kind of want to ask about kind of creating safe spaces for people, for everyone who is looking to be in this community yet not take on the idea that they need to be offended by something that isn't a lifestyle that they would embrace if they're horrified by it. Because I did see that, I totally respect everyone's ability and I don't want anyone to leave my channel. So how do you create that balance between a free, safe zone for somebody and then without somebody else feeling violated indirectly, even if nothing is said, but they feel that someone else has crossed the line? How do you maintain that? And what is ethical and what's not as a result? To keep someone and keep all your members happy. We're going to be talking about that, especially if in this community, you know this, Thomas, when you develop energy connections to people, it's hard when they turn and they leave your channel or they turn away from you because other people are in there whose energy they don't resonate with. So these are some of the things we'll be talking about tomorrow night that I hope on all of our channels that you guys can, of course, be party to and contribute in some way. Because after all, it's our energy overlapping. It's, as I say before, the individual energy means so much because the collective is nothing without the individual rubbing against, all that other stuff. And that's what creates readings, that connection and that ability to connect creates better readings. So if that isn't there, we don't have anything.
So my thing on the ethics and third party reads are, I will do it in context of the question. I won't tell you what that person is going to do or not going to do in the situation. Just try to get energy. But if they are a public figure, somebody who's thrust themselves into the limelight, whether they be an actor, a director, a producer, a man about town in entertainment, or whether they're an elected official in politics, or have run for government office of all the way from local government to national government. They invite themselves to be scrutinized just by virtue of being a public figure. And you have to develop a little bit of tough skin. I don't know if Jeff feels like he's been dragged down the road yet in this YouTube thing, but there is. We are putting ourselves out there, and energy wise, and if we betray your trust, it is the longest and hardest road to go down to regain anybody's trust that we have lost trust with. Sometimes it has happened, and sometimes those people come back after they see, something else was influencing me, and I wasn't quite thinking right, or they were leading me not to quite think right. And I've analyzed the situation, and I've come to the conclusion that there may have been an unfortunate misunderstanding, and they come back. Not always the case, but it is very happy that I welcome somebody back after a misunderstanding.
And that's rare, because the heights of what we offer one another when we feel betrayed, those lows can eclipse those highs pretty quickly, just with the immediacy of the platform and the connection we all have to one another, intimately. This space is like an incubator in a good way, or it could be in a bad way, because we all know one another. Some of us know of, or we know one another's life stories. We know that we can feel energy. We know pieces of you, pieces of us. And if there were a betrayal, that hurts. So I'm finding it on a one-on-one level in some cases to be a tougher tightrope to walk with some people for whom I read, because that's new to me, or I want to read, but dare I say it, that connection is made through all of you guys to one person, because you're all part of the energy cycle here. So,
and we have to. Everybody has different sensibilities. Some people are way more sensitive to negative energy. Some of us may have never developed the skills to correctly analyze situations and can jump to wrong conclusions or alternative conclusions that really may not be the truth of the matter. And I've made mistakes all my life. Every time I suck, hopefully I get one more close to success. So with that, I hope that you treat yourself with kindness, and you be kind to others, and you go out and make it a great night. Thanks for being with us, everyone. Thank you, Jeff.
Have a good night.